Friends, let me invite the next speaker, Robin Banerjee, who is the MD of Kefrians Limited. May I request the AV to be on?
Robin Banerjee. Listen to Robin Banerjee's talks. You will be surprised how he can simplify very tough concepts. His thoughts are culled from his own 35 years of experience in several large multinational corporations in more than 20 countries. He's a chartered accountant, cost and management accountant, company secretary, and has a master's degree in commerce. Currently, he is the managing director of Capri Hans. Option: currently, he is the managing director of Capri Hans. Robin has written 3 books on taxation, one of which, ModVat, has gone into 10 editions. He's an acclaimed speaker on management and finance-related topics. He has been awarded the prestigious Rotary International's Ethical Practices Award. Under his leadership, over 1,000 destitute children are being looked after and nurtured, including many who are physically and mentally handicapped. We extend a warm welcome to him at the Miracle Discon of Rotary District 3141.
May I invite RIPR Kamalji to on the stage, please? Kamalji.
I am deeply impressed and proud to give this citation to Robin because this is one of our core values which Rotary promotes. And you've been bestowed by Rotary International District 3141 is pleased to honor on you, sir, and confer upon you the award of Ethical Business Practices for setting an example of exemplary corporate governance and social responsibility.
Your response, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I wonder how anyone speaks after having food. And the best thing what happens after food is the sleep befalls on us. And I'm going to talk to you on a subject which is good food for thought. I would like to speak on a topic on cheating. Cheating, not in the world of politics, but in the world of business. Corporate cheating. And the topic, of course, should help, if you would like to know a little bit more, that how you can cheat and not get caught. And if that interests you, hopefully the next 20 minutes or so, I would like to paint in front of you a picture of all that what we encounter in the world of business. Whatever I'm going to speak to you, the topic is very large. It, of course, cannot be summarized in about 20 minutes. And more importantly, each one of you, I think, will receive my messages perhaps a little differently. Some of it will resonate with you, some you will disagree, and some I'm sure you would debate, and some would leave with you some thoughts as to, okay, if that's so, what's it that we should do? Please understand, ladies and gentlemen, there are hundreds and thousands of business and corporates who are trying to cheat us. As we speak and sitting here, there would at least be more than 100 schemers, corporate schemers, who are trying to find ways and means how to make money out of you and me. So, because the field is very debatable, large, and perhaps would involve each one of you looking at things differently, I want to divide the program or the problem into 2 parts. One part is all about corporate cheating. It's called corporate frauds. And another small part, I would talk to you about this whole issue of cybercrime. Cybercrime may or may not be a corporate issue, but you would perhaps know that there are companies which have been formed to actually do cybercrime, and I'll explain to you as to how they do it and how much money they make. In the world of corporate frauds, I will break the program into two parts. One part involves banks. The other part involves non-banks. Why banks? Because banks have a business to keep the money and to lend money, give money. So their primary business is money. And if anyone has money as his business, of course, fraudsters are looking at it as an opportunity as to how to make some more money out of people who gives or lends money. In the banks, while we talk about banks, corporates, frauds, one overwhelming thought which actually challenges today's topic is all of you, or most of you, or perhaps many of you are Rotarians. And what you are doing to the world is giving love and giving trust. People trusts you with money. People trusts you knowing that if they contribute money to a Rotarian and to Rotary Club, the money will actually see the last mile, will go to the last person whom the money was meant for, which means people trusts you. You also deliver trust in others. And ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about corporate frauds, that's that particular word of trust which is taken advantage of. There are corporations and businesses who tell you that you can trust me. Actually, they are not trustworthy. They are taking advantage of your trust and making their own money. Coming to the example or topic on corporate frauds in banks, which is where the money making is all about, there are two types of frauds in banks. Frauds which are done in the bank, inside the bank or in the bank. Another type of fraud which is done on the bank. There is fraud in the bank and there are frauds on the bank. Let me give you a little example of in the bank. In India, the Reserve Bank of India has stated that in 2017-18, last financial year, the current financial hasn't ended, every 2 hours, there has been a banking fraud. Every 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. We are here since 8:30. It's almost more than 7 hours or 8 hours. 4 frauds have been taken place in the banking system. And the banks keep your and my money. 42,000 crores have been fraudulently stolen or someone had made money in the last financial year. Perhaps you're also aware that most and many of the frauds don't even get caught. So I shudder to think the real size of the nature of the frauds which are taking place in the bank. Let me give you an example on the bank. And the examples which I would like to state today may be a few. Some of you may not like those names because those names are, of course, in the public domain. And of course, you may disagree with some of the views which I will state because these are debatable topics. But a topic like this without names cannot be interesting and cannot provide you any learning. A fraud on the bank, to my mind, which has been committed by none other than Mr. Vijay Mallya. Vijay Mallya is actually now the face of corporate fraud in India. Unfortunate though, many of us would think that no, Mr. Mallya did take the bank loans and not pay back, which is about 9,000 crores. That's what the banks are saying. But his business went all wrong. If that is so, think of a situation that the last aircraft flew in July 2012. And come December 2012, Mr. Mallya actually went and, it's called donated, but to my mind, bribed Lord Tirupati with 2 kgs of gold. When his own employees have not been paid salaries, And if you remember those pictures of Kingfisher Airlines air hostesses standing in front of the aircraft and crying that they have not got their wages, what right does an employer or an entrepreneur have to go and give gold to a god where his own employees have not been paid for? If this doesn't satisfy you that his objectives were not august, in 2015, November, Mr. Malia was declared a willful defaulter by State Bank of India. I hope you know, ladies and gentlemen, who is a willful defaulter. A willful defaulter is someone who has the ability to pay but does not pay. But he never challenged, as far as I know, that I am not a willful defaulter. If he did not have the ability to pay, then perhaps he should have said, I am not a willful defaulter. Be as it may, November 2015, he was declared as willful defaulter by State Bank. And come December 2015, just about 2 months later, he became 60 years of age, and he celebrated his 60th birthday in a gala style with many of the Hollywood and Bollywood stars in his Kingfisher villa, stating the fact that when he is not paying the bankers, when he is not paying salaries to his employees, what right did he have to spend, as per newspaper reports, about 50 CR and above, 50 crores and above, on a birthday party which went over 3 days? This birthday party pictures came out in Bombay Times newspaper on 25th of December 2015, and that shook the corporate world. When the bankers, including Raghuraman Rajan, who was RBI governor at that point of time, saw that this gentleman who has not paid his loans, he has not paid the salaries to his employees, and he is partying. So he declared, or at least there was an intention, that perhaps Mr. Malia should be arrested. On 2nd of March, the bankers got together and moved the Supreme Court, which was in 2016, and the Supreme Court, within few minutes of hearing, said, yes, Mr. Malia's passport should be confiscated. Only to learn about 120 seconds later that Mr. Malia has run away from India the previous night. Now, why I'm saying he ran away from India, you will say, no, he did not run away. He went for a business trip. Do you know what he was carrying? He was carrying 11 large boxes with him. And according to official sources, he was carrying material which should actually last for 7 families. If he was not intending to run away, why did he carry the luggage? Business trip, we don't carry so much luggage. That was perhaps one of the worst moments of Indian frauding system, where the Reserve Bank of India came to a conclusion that these entrepreneurs who run away from India after taking our and your money must be arrested, we must do something about it. So what happened is, I know it's a very long story, but in short, if I may say, that the RBI came out with a fiat that come 31st March 2016, every bank must declare all non-performing assets, NPAs, in their banks. And once that NPA started declaring, the Indian economy started collapsing, because many of the entrepreneurs who were not declared NPAs earlier got stuck in this quote-unquote NPA word. Whoever is stated to be a non-performing asset, a banker does not give any loan further. Of course, this is a matter which obviously needs a lot of questions and answers, which, because today is a monologue is I speak and you sleep. In a situation like this, it is very difficult to then discuss it further. I will move on to another area of non-banking frauds. When you say non-banking fraud, which is frauds by non-bankers, again, it could be in the corporates or by corporates. It can also be on corporates. So an example of in corporate, maybe of many of you would have heard, was by Reebok India, way back in 2012. In that particular case, the CEO and the COO got together, and they did a large number of transactions, essentially speaking what they wanted, what they structured. The company says they have flown away with about 900 crores money. Whether it's 900 crores or 100 crores doesn't really matter. What they did basically is they showed sales higher than what the sales were. They used to show sales so that they can get their commission. The sales were never made. It was given to dummy warehouses, and the dummy warehouses were belonging to them. And as and when the real sales is to take place, that were taking place out of the dummy warehouses, and the cash collected were pocketed by them. I'm not too sure whether you have understood this. It's an all question of showing the original sales to get commission, but not making those sales to the customers. The goods went out to dummy warehouses. When original sales is to take place, sales is to take place from the dummy warehouses, and the cash collected or the money collected from the customers were pocketed. This was a case of in the bank, in the corporates. Let me give you an example of by corporates. Time being short, of course, there are hundreds and thousands of examples of what's happening in India and in the rest of the world, is that Sahara. All of you would have seen the Indian cricket team wearing Sahara on their dresses. But have you ever questioned that what is the business of Sahara? What do they make? What do they trade in? Did they have a business at all? So what the Supreme Court said ultimately, that Sahara collected thousands of crores of rupees, so-called, they say they have collected thousands of crores of rupees from wherever it is. And the Supreme Court asked, okay, you collected thousands of crores of rupees, from where did you collect? There is no answer. The Supreme Court says it was money laundering. For you, it is difficult to understand what is money laundering, how can he collect money laundered money? Perhaps he collected black money, we don't know. Perhaps he collected unaccounted money and tried to convert that into unaccounted money. Then the Supreme Court said that you have collected money, you say so, now return the money because you are illegally collected. When they asked to return, he said, no, I have returned all the money, and they said it was 24,000 crore they were supposed to return. They said that, okay, I'm going to now give you proof of that I have returned the money. So they sent 134 truckloads to the SEBI office in BKC in Bombay. There was a traffic jam that night, and containing lakhs and lakhs of piece of papers, apparently, of people who returned the money to the company. All of that looked to be fraud. Now, why am I saying it's a fraud by the corporate? This business, in our view, at least in the view of the laws of the land today and what the courts are saying, and including the CBI and SEBI is saying, that the business was structured on a fraud. Time will only say that it was true or not, but as of now, this is the situation as it stands. So ladies and gentlemen, because the time is short, if I may state that what you heard for the last 10 minutes or so, there were something called a macro fraud, and there is something called a micro fraud. Macro frauds are those frauds where the entrepreneur or the board structures those frauds. Very difficult to identify. For instance, let us say, assuming for a moment that Kingfisher was a fraud, assuming for a moment, as I gave an example, Sahara was a fraud, assuming for a moment you must have already heard that what has happened to Satyam. Satyam also ran away with, or at least he said that he did a fraud of 5,000 crore when he had in bank account only 50 crores. These were frauds structured by the ownership. These are called macro frauds. Very difficult to understand. This is based on trust, which you and me have on the entrepreneurs, and they take advantage of the trust. It is deception. They deceive you and me to saying, I am running a business, but actually they are perhaps not running a business. They are saying, I am borrowing money from the bank, but chances are that they are borrowing money from the bank without the intent to refund the money or repay the money fully. These are macro frauds. What are micro frauds? Micro frauds are something which we are always mostly talking about. A bribery taking place in the company. A cashier takes the money from a customer and he does not put it in the company tool. He pockets it personally. It is nothing else but a stealing, a theft. Now, when an organizational employee or a vendor or a customer takes money, does money, or transacts money not ethically, it is something called a micro fraud. You will say, are there no audit systems in the world? Yes, the auditors are there, but the auditors mostly are able to catch the micro frauds. But when the business system is sitting on a macro fraud, an idea perhaps of making money and fooling and deceiving all of us and taking advantage of our trust is where the auditors many a time are not able to catch. Having said that, I did mention that I will tell you about cybercrime. I will not explain to you all the cybercrime, but only thing I want to explain to you is one, that it's a huge business. The cybercrime business has been identified to be a $1.5 to $2 trillion business. The India's GDP is $2.5 trillion. Remember, the size of India's GDP is the size of cybercrime which takes place every year. It is larger than the size of the fraud which takes place in cannabis and hashish and drugs. That cartelization fraud, the cybercrime is larger than that. The second one is a good cybercrime fraudster. A cyber fraudster makes anything between 3 to 5 crores of income every year. That's the sort of business they have. If someone is smart, he makes 3 to 4 crores. Even a senior directorship of an organization will not give that sort of money. That's cybercrime. What is it that you should be aware of? Ladies and gentlemen, everything in the internet is hackable. I repeat, everything in the internet is hackable. Everything which is connected, and we are saying we are getting into IoTs, artificial intelligence, big data, we are actually walking into a big trap of people who are waiting to make money. Your and my bank account is also in the cyber domain. You can actually pay through the mobile or the internet. Is it not in the world of cyber? And who knows, tomorrow morning I wake up and find my bank account is empty because I was sleeping when it was all getting emptied. It is like a thief stealing into your home over the night and opening the locks and not telling you that I have opened the locks. If I have to summarize, while there are corporate frauds and banking frauds, macro nature and micro nature, the question will always remain, what should I do? What is it that you should do? The most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, you should do is knowledge is power. If you know what types of frauds take place, it will give you the knowledge as to how to combat it. Well, I'm not publicizing anything, but I have written a book which is called Who Cheats and How, which has more than 350 live examples, which is of course available on the installed near the entrance. But if you ever want to give a gift to someone whom you want to explain that all the types of fraud which takes place, it's a knowledge. Even if you don't want to read, but even if your children, your parents, or your friends want to read, we must know what is going on in the corporate world. I just give you a flavor. Knowledge is power. Number 2, ladies and gentlemen, don't trust everything what you see. You must take things with a bit of salt. If things are getting too good, there may be something something is going wrong. And prevention is better than cure. You must prevent a fraud from taking place. You must prevent from something going wrong. If you don't do that, it will be very, very difficult tomorrow to protect it. The last sentence I would like to say, ladies and gentlemen, the fraudsters will continue to take advantage of our trust. Just opposite to what you, the Rotarians, tried to do. Just opposite to that. They're not going to go away. Just because there are jails, there are thieves getting locked in the jails, another expecting thief doesn't stop stealing. Just because some people have gone to the jail or have been shown the bad road, that's where you belong to, the culprits, fraudsters are not going to stop. The world is actually getting more and more difficult. The fraudsters are making more and more money, and we the people must know more about it. And if we are careful, perhaps we can stop this whole terrible stuff, people taking advantage of our trust. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Robin. I think it was a wonderful eye-opening. And I think I agree with you that audit, when you do a normal, one has to look from a macro level and not only the micro level. I think you have said just very well. Thank you so much. But no, don't go away. I want you to take out one lucky draw so that the people, where's the key? Why it has been locked?
They don't trust us.
You don't keep the key, you give me the key, yeah? Come. You be here only. Here you are. These are the coin. Well, number, they have put the number which you were talking about, 644. Huh? They're not put, no? Yeah, so far not done. So I think I will, yeah, I think, yeah, they have not, yeah, they have not done it yet. Yeah. Still we are telling them to do it. Oh, again it is. No, 666. 666. Number है? Number 666. तो यहाँ ऊपर है? 666. Khozem Sakkarwala. Yeah, Robin, may I request you to please hand over this coin to him? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. God bless. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. May I invite the Myrison team, by the time they set up their stage, to have an inauguration of a Myrison. May I invite Vinay Khetawat, Girja Deshpande, and the entire team on the stage, please. And also, I would like to invite RIPR, Kamal Sanghviji. I know that that's the best exercise which you can have after the lunch, coming up and going down, but can't help it. And may I invite Sonamji also to the stage, because I think this is a Myrison which is a unique feature, which is, we are coming out every month, on a, it is called a GML. May I request Vinay, please. And other team are there, other team member? He and Girja. This issue is the homage to the Pulwama tragedy which has happened in the country. Please, come ahead. Thank you. Thank you, Vinay, for doing a wonderful job. And it's on time. And I think, Kamalji, you just go through this. I think you will find it's a wonderful piece of information. Thank you so much.